Welcome back to Small Caps, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kerry Stevenson. I've asked Luke Reinehr. He is the chairman and CEO of Kalamazoo Resources. ASX code is KZR. Reason I've asked Luke to come back because, goodness me, these guys have been busy and lots to talk about. Luke, great to see you again. Welcome back to Small Caps.
Thanks, Kerry. It's great always to be with you.
Well, the reason I sat up and took notice most recently is because you've been the successful bidder for the Mount Piper gold project from Coda. So yes. Let's talk about that to start with, and then we'll go, there's a lot of news that we've got to cover today. So what is it about that project that got you interested, and where does that leave you within the Victorian goldfields?
Yeah, absolutely, Kerry. So, look, I think as everyone would know, we've got some major projects in Victoria. We've got the Castlemaine goldfields, historical goldfields, which produced about 5.5 million ounces. And it's about 45 k's to the south of Fosterville. South Muckleford, which is to the south of the Maiden goldfield, which produced about 2 million ounces. So between them, they're about 550 square kilometres. And then we've got some other projects, Tarnagulla and Myrtle as well. Mm-hmm. But look, we've always been committed to Victoria, Kerry, and we believe that there's been a real opportunity for a bit of a consolidation of the Victorian goldfields. So we were approached by Coda themselves, who have taken over a company called Torrens Mining. Yeah, and why they took over Torrens Mining was they had an equity interest in the Elizabeth Creek copper project in South Australia. And so Coda took over Torrens. But with that takeover, they inherited the Mount Piper gold project, which Torrens had basically did an IPO on about 2 years ago. And that was, one of their major assets. But obviously their focus for both of those companies was on these copper projects. So it became non-core to Coda. And they could see that as we're a major player in the Central Victorian goldfields, and, I think everyone has been aware that we're looking to actually increase our ground. They approached us and we managed to do a great deal. Very similar to our Castlemaine and even our Northern Star acquisition of the Ashburton, whereby we're actually putting our money in the ground. We're not paying a lot of money up front, but we're paying an ongoing royalty and some shares to Coda. So that gives them an interest if we're successful. But more importantly, it enables us to now expand our total holding in the Central Victorian goldfields to well over 2,000 square kilometres. So, we're the major player now. We've got a larger holding now than Agnico or Kirkland Lake previously with Fosterville. So,
but I guess the question to ask, Luke, is, having the ground is all well and good. It means that there's more work to be done.
Absolutely.
Do you think that this extra ground that you've picked up is exciting? I guess I need to ask you that and a little bit more on the terms, because you mentioned royalty. So for investors that are listening, it's really understanding, I guess, the strategy behind this and the focus that you're going to do and how much money you're going to be putting into it.
Yeah, absolutely, Kerry. So it's a big land holding. Because it's relatively a new project, it means you've got long tenure for it, but also it means you don't have significant minimum expenditure that you need to spend on the ground. So that's always a bonus. But the reason why we like it is that it's just to the south of Costerfield gold mine, gold-antimony mine, owned by Mandalay, which is very successful. It was ranked as the 7th highest grade milled gold mine in the world in 2021. Of course, Fosterville, 35, maybe 40 k's to the northwest. It's the highest grade gold mine in the world in 2021. So we've got the 1st and the 7th highest grade gold mines in the world just to our north. And then, of course, to the south, there's a company called Southern Gold, which floated recently. It's had some major success with what they call the Sunday Creek Gold Project, and it's right on our southern border. So basically, we're sandwiched between Costerfield to the north, Sunday Creek to the south, Fosterville to the northeast, and of course our ground, to the northwest, and of course our ground to the west. So we think this position is very good. Been very little exploration in this area, though. It's what they call the Melbourne zone. So it's on the border of the Bendigo zone and the Melbourne zone. Why people are liking the Melbourne zone is that they're seeing more gold or an epizonal gold antimony type mineralisation. And that's Fosterville, that's Costerfield, that's what they're seeing now at Sunday Creek. So we think this ground is very prospective. It's going to take a lot of exploration and dollars from us over the next 3 or 4 years, but we've been consolidating a large position here in Victoria, and we're very bullish on it. We've got two of the world's great mines operating now, and we just want to make sure that we can see if we can find the next world-class discovery in Victoria.
Okay, so the deal itself, Coda now has shares in Kalamazoo. Is it what sort of shareholding have they got?
So they're about 300,000, maybe a bit less, $250,000 worth of stock in Kalamazoo, 1.5 million shares approximately. Okay. Escrowed for 12 months, so they're not going to be on the market in any shape or form. And the reason being is Coda want to actually, have some meat in the game with us in regard to our exploration success. And there's a 1% royalty, net smelter royalty, in case there was any, gold found. So we think it's a great deal. It enables us not to be laying out big money, but to actually put that money in the ground. And that's where we think it's best, the best reward for our shareholders.
Luke, it's a big ground position now. What's the strategy going forward with this increase? Because it takes you into, as you say, a very big ground position down there in Victoria. What's the strategy? Where do you go? Are you going to go straight into this Coda Mount Piper deposit, or what are you doing?
Yeah, so it's a big ground holding, but we've got big plans. And our view is that these projects deserve some significant exploration on them. So we'll be looking at options. There obviously a lot of people are interested in what we're doing in this area, and so we will continue to advance that. Obviously, the Mount Piper, we need to get on the ground and do some early work there. Probably soil sampling across a large portion of it will be the first step. Torrens had only just started doing work on it.
Yeah, okay, that was my question. Yeah.
Part of the ground too, Kerry, up to the north covers the Puckapunyal Army base, believe it or not. So now
hey, Luke, just get them to just put a couple of holes, just to tell them to do some exercises where they blast a bit.
Well, who knows? Maybe the Chinese will be interested in taking a share. Military bases are always of great interest to them. But seriously, Kerry, so that application has been accepted, but we obviously have to get it approved and see if we can get on the ground there. But that's fair enough. That might take a bit of time. But we've seen that happen in other areas across military grounds. For example, in the Woomera range, that was closed for a long time, and now you can get access there, obviously under strict terms. So that doesn't concern us. We just got to work our way through that.
Okay.
So we do have big plans, and we now need to obviously put in a very systematic exploration program, and that's our intention over the next couple of years. Big plans,
Big dollars. What are we looking at?
It could be.
How much cash have you got in the bank, and how are you going to manage that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got about $2.5 million cash, and we've got additional stock in other companies as well. So look, we're fine, but I guess, and perhaps we'll talk about it in a moment, Kerry, a large focus we've got at the moment is on our lithium projects up at the Pilbara as well. But those programs are actually being funded by SQM 100%. So it's not as if, it's costing us a lot of money on that. So, it means we can focus a large number of our dollars here in Victoria.
Well, clearly it's been a while getting all of this. You're not going to go and get any more. You think you've got enough down there in Victoria? It's quite a big landholding.
I never say never, Kerry. You just don't know. Look, Kerry, that's the game we're in. The game is that we are trying to increase our projects, our prospectivity, and which at the end of the day are assets as well. And the reason we're doing it is for the benefit of our shareholders. So, look, we have been quite acquisitive over the years. We've bought numerous projects, but we've also sold projects as well. If we can add value to them and it's to the benefit of our shareholders, well, that's what we'll continue to do. So, we've got a really open mind about this, and we're not looking at just on a project basis, but also, on a corporate basis as well. What's best for our shareholders.
Yeah, I like to hear that as well. And you've got skin in the game as well, don't you, Luke?
Absolutely.
I always like to know, or our beautiful community out there want to know, do you have skin in the game? And what does that look like? Does the board have skin in the game?
We have far too much skin in the game, I reckon, at times, Gary. To the extent, too, can I tell you that the directors and management, we exercised options just before Christmas of, $2.25 million. So look, the top 5 shareholders have got more than 52%, and I think, as you know, the Reinehr family, and in conjunction with my brother, we've got about 30%, and management have got about another 5 or 6%. So the 5 top shareholders here more than 50%. So we're all very focused on getting a return for all our shareholders.
And speaking of which, given that you do have so much skin in the game, what do you think is going to be the catalyst? Like, you've got this new project down in Victoria, but you've also got lithium. We are going to talk about that in a moment. But what do you think is going to put, I mean, it's hard to say it's definitely this because it is exploration, but what excites Luke Reinehr at the moment about Kalamazoo going forward? I kind of want to have a picture of why shareholders should be getting excited about what you're doing. But lots of acquisitions.
So I guess probably 2 things. The first one is, if you look at the minerals that we're involved in, we're interested in gold, primarily in gold and lithium. And I keep coming back to the fact that, they're the 2 minerals going forward over the next 10 years that I think have got, enormous upside. Sure, the gold price is down a little bit at the moment, Kerry, but if you look back over 20 years, the gold price 20 years ago, I think in US dollar terms was, $273 US. It's now, what, 17?
I think it's 1790 today.
Yeah. So if you look at a 20-year trend, the trend, sure, there's ups and downs, and we're at a bit of a down period at the moment, but the trend has just been fantastic. And I'll even go back, what excites us. If you look at Kalamazoo, when we started as a private company 10 or 12 years ago, the gold price then was, I think, about $1,400 Aussie. It's now 2,600 Aussie. Now it has its ups and downs, but gee, that's a trend that I want, and our company and our shareholders want to stay on, going upwards. So gold, I think, is great, and of course in bad times as well, it's always been a good store of wealth. And then of course lithium, and I think we've all seen what's happened with lithium. I'll tell you what's really interesting from my point of view, Kerry, too. It's not just what the market is saying with lithium, but I and a couple of my directors went across to PDAC in Toronto. A couple of weeks ago, which is the world's largest mining and exploration conference, and there are 35,000 delegates.
Oh, just a small event then, Luke.
A small event. I'll tell you what, if ever there was going to be a super spreader event for COVID, that was going to be it. But fortunately,
and you're fine.
Oh, fine. Absolutely, Kerry. Haven't had COVID yet, so all good. But Kerry, the interesting thing about it, I haven't been overseas for almost 3 years because of COVID, and it was the first trip across there. But going across there in both New York and Toronto, what astounded me was the number of Teslas I saw everywhere.
Really?
Especially in Toronto. They are everywhere.
Wow.
So it's not just, you hear about this. Now, we're not seeing, the EV take up in this country yet, but gee, it's prominent in the US and in Canada, which really is interesting. A lot of and then in the UK, we're in London on the way back as well. In London, all the taxis are going electric as well. So
are they real? That's interesting.
The English cabs are all going electric. So, and of course, I think we're all aware that most of the European car manufacturers have all said by 2025 they're going to stop making combustible engines. So this is happening, and lithium, I think, is a great place to be as well. So what excites us? We're in gold and we're in lithium, and I think that's going to set us up pretty well for the next 5 or 10 years. Yeah,
well, we've Victoria gold, but you've also got gold over in the west.
Yep.
In the Pilbara. We'll talk about Ashburton as well. Yep. Let's talk that one, and then we'll go into the lithium, because I need to understand the lithium story a little bit more as well as to where you're going with that. The Ashburton Gold Project, you've had a scoping study on that, and I think you've also done an IP survey. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right, Kerry. So just to and you can see this background behind me. That's the Mount Olympus pit. So just for I guess for your viewers that may be not familiar with the Ashburton, it produced about 350,000 ounces at the turn of this century. So I think between 98 and 2004. It's got a current resource of about 1.6 million ounces, 1.65 million ounces at 2.5 grams. It's to just to the south of Tom Price in the Pilbara. And we purchased it from Northern Star a couple of years ago. the resource itself is a combination of sulfide ore and sulfide mineralization and also oxide ore, about 1.1 million ounces in the sulfide and the balance in the oxide. So what we've been doing is been doing a lot of metallurgical work on recoveries, and that's been very successful. What they call a high-grade float concentrate, which means that we could look at mining the project and crushing it and then float it off as a sulfide concentrate, which might be at 30 or 40 grams a ton, and then you can actually deal with that float concentrate perhaps to some other plants in the area, which perhaps we can talk about later, or maybe overseas. And so that's kind of our strategy. So we've done the network. We've got a scoping study that's underway as we speak. It's probably another 2 months away, and that will show the development pathway that we think in regard to this project. It's not a pre-feasibility study, it's the step before that, but we're quite keen and excited as to what we're seeing that's coming out of that. So that's, I guess, the development pathway in regard to this asset, because it's a major project. And if you look at the Pilbara itself over the last 2 or 3 years, been a lot of activity. Obviously, we've got De Grey with its Hemi discovery, and they're very close now to pushing the button on that. They're putting out pre-feasibility studies. That's 9 or 10 million ounces. You've got Calidus with the Warrawoona project in the Pilbara. That was commissioned a couple of weeks ago, on time, on budget. Dave Reeves done a terrific job there. Got Capricorn to our southeast as well. So, of the projects, we believe we're the next one on the list.
Oh wow! Okay.
So now it's still work to be done, but it's the biggest resource, and it needs to be taken to the next step. Part of that is we're doing an IP survey, which you just mentioned before, and that's almost complete now. And that IP survey, it's a geophysical survey, and how that works is that you charge the ground with an electric charge, and it picks up any of the metal that gets charged in that area, and with an electrical current. So what it does is it tries to detect sulfide deposits, and where we're focused on that is between the Mount Olympus deposit, which is this one you can see in the background, which has been part mined, which is about a million ounces, and another smaller pit, which was the West Olympus deposit. And it's only a couple of 100 meters between there, and that's where it's focused on, because surprise, surprise, we think that's probably where the next deposit or mineralization could be. So early days on that, but we'll probably put out an announcement in regard to those results maybe in the next 3 or 4 weeks, I would expect. So that's all looking really positive for us in regard to the Ashburton.
Give us a bigger picture, because we've been talking about the Ashburton for a while, and I'm sort of sitting here going, all right, it's been 1.65 million. You're doing this, lots of studies around it, but give me a step back, bigger picture, where the value upside that you see is for shareholders with this project. Yeah,
well, I guess the key is you've got to look at a development pathway for it. Can we build a crush or mining, crushing, flotation circuit on this, produce maybe 120,000 ounces a year for a number of years? Maybe it's a stage 1 project, and then and if you look back even at what Northern Star were planning 10 years ago when they had it, and that was that they were going to build an oxide plant, 100,000 ounce oxide plant and that would treat first 5 or 6 years of ore, and then they'd build a sulfide plant. So that's one pathway. The other one, you do a float concentrate. The other one is, do we bring in a joint venture partner? Do we look at other opportunities for it? Again, it always comes down, Kerry, to what's best for our shareholders. Where are we going to get the best return? Because this is not just a project. This is an asset, and we're trying to increase the value of our assets as we go along.
So the focus, so bigger picture, potentially looking for a joint venture to come on board with you.
No, I think we've got to actually understand what it looks like ourselves. But who knows? Maybe we develop it. But what I will say is that that's not our current mindset or skill set. Sorry, we're explorers. We put projects together, we acquire them, we add value. That's really what we've been focused on. But again, what the best value for our shareholders is. Yeah, given that you're a shareholder, that's pretty important. Absolutely. That actually leads me quite nicely onto the lithium side of it. For a number of years, you were focused on the gold.
but you brought a partner in for these lithium assets, and that's SQM.
Yep.
Talk to us about where you're at with that, because there is some news around the lithium. Where have you got to since SQM came on board? What have you got?
Yeah, so it was actually announced today, Kerry, that we've started drilling at our
Yay!
Marble Bar project. So that was announced today, and that's going to be about a 5,000 metre program. It started a couple of days ago, but it's been running and was announced today. So again, just to give some overview on that, we've had a couple of gold projects just near Marble Bar. And then we became aware of the prospectivity for that for lithium. We've done a lot of work on the ground. We've done a whole range of soil sampling and field checking and lots of work on it, to the extent then that SQM approached us to come in to farm into this project. And they can earn an interest by spending up to $12 million on this project.
Okay.
Some background on SQM for those people who don't know it is that SQM, a Chilean company listed on the New York Stock Exchange, the world's second largest producer of lithium. So a very major player. They are in joint venture with Wesfarmers on the Mount Holland lithium project, but they're looking for, in their view, for what's the next, tier one type project or lithium project. And that's been good for us because it's enabled us, because we've been a gold explorer, Kerry, but it enabled us to kind of tap into, I guess, some of their expertise in regard to exploration, development, and other areas. Enabled us to build up our team. They're sole funding the project, which again, as we mentioned earlier, takes the pressure off us in regard to funding our lithium side of our business. But we're running and managing the whole project. So we're building up a very specific, lithium expertise across these Doms Hill and Marble Bar projects, which SQM is farming into. But what it's doing as well is it's enabling us to then, as I said, build up our own expertise to look for other lithium projects. And we have another wholly owned project in the Pilbara between Doms Hill and Marble Bar called Pear Creek. And we own that 100%. We've now started and actually just completed a soil sampling or geochem program over that. But coming back to Victoria and New South Wales, we've also just been granted a large lithium exploration tenure in New South Wales called Chingelik.
Oh.
Now, it's very much, left field. It's very much green fields as well, but it's in the lower section of the Lachlan Fold Belt. A lot of tin and tantalum in that area, which again is, often seen as a good direction for lithium, and so it's early days for us on that. But
sorry, Luke, how did you come across Chingelik? I mean, I thought your focus was lithium was over in the west, gold down in Victoria. So now you got lithium in New South. How'd you come across this one?
Well, Kerry, 85% of, I think the figure's 85% of WA now is pegged. There's exploration leases. So there's not much left in WA now. So people are looking elsewhere. And we kind of this ground was vacant in New South Wales. So it's not as if we've gone and purchased the project from someone. It's basically by way of application. And as they say in exploration, there's nothing cheaper than an application. So
love that.
So it enables us to then go and do some work. But it's a good sized project, very early days, but it's in that it's got the right prospectivity look or feel about it. So we've got to do some work on it. But we've been on the ground, and probably the next step again is we'll do some soil sampling and see what it looks like. But I guess the key from this is one of the benefits that we've I guess received from our relationship with SQM. It's kind of opened our eyes a little bit in regard to exploration and opportunities. So that's been very good for us. So getting back to the Pilbara and our projects there, 5,000 metre drill program across Marbles Bar and Doms Hill. That'll take probably 5 or 6 weeks. Assays will take obviously time after that. We'll see how it goes.
Just quick, we don't have a lot of time left, so I just want to ask you. So Doms Hill, Marble Bar, that's in conjunction with SQM. They're paying for all the development, the drilling, et cetera, et cetera. But Pear Creek is 100% Kalamazoo. Is there a reason for keeping that outside the joint venture with SQM?
We actually picked that ground up, or we purchased that ground after we did the deal with SQM. So And look, we just want to add a bit more value to that. And look, of course, we're in discussions with SQM as well in that regard, and potentially maybe that might be brought in to another JV down the track. But at the moment, we've all got enough on our hands, with these programs, and we just want to continue to add value and we understand it better as well. So I think that's key.
And I love that. You've constantly said throughout this conversation, adding value for shareholders. So that's what I like to see. It is a tough market at the moment, Luke. We all know that. But tell us right now, our community, why, 3 reasons why you think now is a good time for them really to take, if you haven't already had a look at KZR, Kalamazoo Resources, why the 3 reasons they should be looking right now?
For sure, Karen. Well, the first one, again, is the Ashburton project. It's got intrinsic value. If you were to look at the average EV or enterprise value of WA companies with more than 500,000 ounce resource in WA, they're in development exploration stage. The average EV per ounce is around about $90 an ounce. Might be a little bit less now because of the gold price the last couple of weeks, but it's around about that figure. So our market cap and our enterprise value at the moment is nowhere near that. So, even if it was half that, if it was $40 an ounce for our 1.6 million ounces, that's $64 million or more, Kerry. So you can see the Ashburton's got true value. Now, the key for us is actually show a pathway for that by way of a scoping study and doing more work so that people can say, okay, well, I can see where this is going.
Yeah,
I can see where the real value to this project is going to be. So the work, the onus is on us to actually do that. And so, we've been doing it systematically and methodically. We'll continue to do that. So that's the first one, the Ashburton true value. And, you don't come across 1.6 million ounces at 2.5 grams a tonne all that often, especially too when, there'd always been question mark in Australia in regard to, sulfide ore and sulfide bodies. That's changing dramatically and rapidly, and we're seeing that through the Pilbara, through De Grey and other projects as well. So it's got true value. Victoria, well, we're I guess at the forefront of a consolidation of some of the most prospective ground in Australia in regard to gold. Just to the south of the number 1 and number 7 highest milled gold mines in the world. Importantly for us, though, in regard to Victoria, is that we think there's a real opportunity to look for a world-class discovery. And the thing about Victoria compared to anywhere else in the world is the gold grade. The average gold grade, historical gold grade in Victoria is 15 grams a tonne. You compare that to WA, which is just over, I think it's 1.5 grams.
1.5, yep.
So, that's true value again in Victoria. And we've got a large shareholding, large tenure land holding. So we think that's great. And then the third one, of course, is the lithium. Here we have got the world's, one of the world's leading lithium companies in joint venture with us over some good ground. We're drilling there at the moment. All we need is a couple of good lithium intersections, Kerry, on that ground, and it's going to be game on. So there are 3 reasons, I think, why people should be looking at Kalamazoo.
And drilling is happening right now. And how do you find things? You put the drill bit into the ground, and that's how discoveries are made. Luke Reinehr, if you find something out there, like if that drill bit gets in there and you go, woohoo, we're off, absolutely, you better give me a call and we got to come get you back on small caps straight away. So
absolutely, Karen. After we announce it to the market, of course. So.
Darn it. Yeah. I tried, ladies and gentlemen, but yes, of course, do it all in the right way. But yes, make sure you come back and
absolutely, Kerry.
All right, Luke Reinehr, Kalamazoo Resources, ASX code KZR. Good luck out there. Congratulations on the new pickups, and we'll look forward to talking to you in the near future.
Thanks a lot, Kerry.